On today's episode of Bucked Up. And you guys still enjoy smoking.
Oh,
You got like look at the smoke. Look at is it a camera hella smoky right now?
Oh shit.
You know, like
We're just getting started, dude.
Yeah, right.
Exactly what
Yeah,
I'm
we smoke
saying.
heavy. That's one thing that a lot of people say about us too. We'll go to events and we'll be like the smokiest booth. I'm like, no, we're no joke. Like
Yeah.
we smoke.
Do you remember the first time you guys smoked together?
Oh Jesus. No, I don't actually. I don't really remember the first time we smoked.
I don't think we were until we were well.
Yeah,
into
till we were
Really?
and like I said, we were both in cannabis deep forever since we were younger. But yeah, I don't think we ever smoked. Like I said, I fucking couldn't buy this guy's weed because he sell it too fast.
Do you remember the first time you smoked?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I smoked.
Did you get high the first time? First question.
I did not. No, I did not. I was also smoking out of a copper pipe, like my friend's brother, type shit.
Yeah, we were smoking out of it. Was my brother gave it to us. It was a Pepto-Bismol bottle. It had like a burn hole in it for the mouthpiece and a tinfoil bowl made out of like where you would pour the Pepto out. Peter was with me.
Yeah. When we were smoking
We
out of
smoked
copper
a bunch
pipe,
and didn't feel a thing. Stone sober.
Really?
Yeah.
How about first time you got high? There's a reason I'm asking these.
Yeah, no. I remember the first time. The first time I was like really super high, really super high was probably my sophomore year homecoming. Me and would be like 2 or 3 of the homies. I can't really remember who was there. I felt like I was sinking into the floor. I was laying there and I felt like I was sinking into the floor, and I was like, I'm fucking stoned. Like that was the first time that I can really remember being like seriously high.
Mine was the third time I smoked because we smoked again at my homie's house. We bought an eighth. We ripped through the whole fucking thing out of that same Pepto-Bismol bottle. And we were in my homie's basement and like my 3 homies were lit. And I'll never forget them, everyone asking each other if we were high.
You high?
And you high?
You high?
You high? Yeah.
Then,
The first time I got high, I just ate a lot, and I was like, I think that means I'm high.
yeah,
And I was
really
like,
high,
No,
yeah.
I was just a
We're all
fat
sitting
kid.
there
That
asking
was-
each other if we're high, and then my homie's upstairs. He comes walking downstairs and he's got every dessert item in his kitchen. And we're like, yep, he's high. So I didn't feel high at all that time. And then so I told I have an older brother who's a few years older, and he used to have a connect on some really good weed. So he's like, yo, I told him how I didn't get high or felt like I did. He's like, no, fuck that. Fuck that. He's like, you're going to come over to the house one night. So he brings me over to the house. And I'll never forget it. He ordered a 1/4 ounce off this dude named Dustin Fogg, who at the time was like the local.
D-Fogg, yeah.
He used to sell the Headies. He brought over the Willies.
Does he care you said his name?
No, I don't think he'll care.
Okay.
I think he's out the game. Well out the game. This is like almost this is like 15 years ago, almost a decade, 2 decades. I'm 37. This was like when I'm like 15 or no 14. So I go over to my brother's house. He gets the herb. He sits me down and smokes me till I can literally not move. He had to pick me up like a baby and bring me to the bed because I couldn't get out of the chair I was in.
Yeah.
Because I was so high. I was uncomfortably high. Like it was like the spins like when you drink. You know,
Yeah. Or the
It was
first time you
bad.
smoke like a cigarette or something, and you
Yeah.
get that nicotine rush
Yeah.
for the first
like I
time.
was
It was
Yeah.
rugged.
What did you think your life would be at this point where you are now then? Like, where did you think you were going to be? What was your...
At the time, it was just kind of, didn't even know what I was going to be. I was still in high school. I was hoping that I was playing sports. Like we were both, big athletes. So it was always like, where's sports going to go? So really didn't have any main goals or objectives of where I wanted to take my life at that point, for sure. It wasn't until I had my child where everything kind of clicked in for me, and that was when I was 19. And it wasn't really about growing cannabis. It was just like how I hustle and survive and provide for my kid in ways that I wasn't provided for myself.
That jump starts a lot of people's passion.
Fuck yeah.
Changed everything.
It
only
also
imagine, yeah.
stifles a lot of people's passion. I want to say that too.
No,
It's
yeah.
funny. It's like...
Yeah, if you don't go about it the right way, I mean, you could look at it as a bad thing, but you could also look at it as a blessing as a young age and enable you to be able to push a little bit harder that you never even thought you could actually push. Like that's what happens. Then you have people that are like, whoa me, oh my God type people. But again, if you attack anything with 100%, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
When did you feel like you found your calling? Because I'm talking about like being able to just join into the thing you want to be, you know?
I mean, for me was probably when I realized first how much cannabis helped me, and then finding similar people, and not just like, you know, your buddies who smoke, but that actually share that same passion about cannabis and what it can actually do medically for people, not about just kind of getting high, hanging out, which, you know, that has a lot to do with it. But like when you realize it can really help you in the group of people that you kind of surround yourself with, and you start to understand that cannabis is kind of more of than just, you know, medicinal for a lot of people. It's a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's a real lifestyle. That helps, you know, again, that like really, really helps people a lot. So starting to kind of, say 2013, when I got my caregiver card, was the first time, because I wanted to be able to sell it legally. That was the first time really, like, again, was like, all right, I'm in it to win it now.
For me, I would say it was the first crop I took down as a medical patient, where we grew inside. I grew outside for years. Every summer, just a few plants, and was able to grow some pretty large ones and pretty great outdoor weed. But then it came to when they started doing the medical patient thing. I wasn't really about the caregiver thing, because I sold weed from age 17 on. So I was still kind of like worried about putting names out there and kind of coming out of that shadow, so to speak. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll play the patient field, and because again, I was still selling weed, but growing weed was like, I didn't really want to get deep into manufacturing.
Yeah.
But I grew this. A friend of mine, I just came out of the trucking industry. I was pretty jaded from it because I'm a large dude. I did a lot of really professional things as a large man and a mover, and they wouldn't pay me like one. So I just eventually, there was a point where I got sick because they put me out in a really, really bad snowstorm or nor'easter when I should have been home. Like I shouldn't have been on the road. And I was sick for 9 days, had pneumonia in my bed. And then I was like, I'm done. I'm never going to go back to that. And one of my good friends now was a very successful dude, was like, yo, have you heard about the medical patient program? Like, yo, I'll loan you the money to get your card, get you a tent, because he knew what I could do outside. And we grew one crop inside with some blueberry. It came out absolutely fire. We spread it around, and everyone was like, damn, grow more. I want to buy it. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, knowing what my father did, too, with providing, like, you know, making a bunch of money off weed. I'm like, everyone smokes weed. I seem to be okay with it. Like, this might be a gift that I was given, so let's fucking run with it. And just keep learning from mistakes, and just kept getting better every time.
But he knew that you could grow fire shit beforehand, so it was like, people knew.
Yeah, we grew pretty good weed outside. We all just had little things we did as a friend group outside, so we were all kind of exposed to it. And I just kind of was always about it. Like, even at 15, you know, I remember I got kicked out at 15 because my mom found a bong in my room. My mom was smoking weed herself too, which was kind of weird and kind of sucky to find out down the road. But once I was removed from the home, that's kind of when it all changed. And I remember having the argument with her crying in the kitchen, being like, why do you love weed so much? I'm like, I don't know, you know, like, I don't know. And I went through a lot of like things in my life where my life could have taken a lot of really different paths, like via athletics, education, but I truly feel like it all happened for a reason, because once I started growing this, I was like, oh, this is what I really was given to do, and I love it. I'm passionate about it. Like I was telling you earlier, there's nothing I love more than growing than my 2 children. That's it. It's like my 2 children and my plants. So I think I was just personally put here to help bring great weed to everybody with my homeboy with me.
But that's why I hope you don't mind answering those questions, because I think people need to realize how good it feels to feel fulfilled in what you do.
100%.
And maybe it's funny, like you had been doing it a long time, but you guys feel like you came to it later almost. Like you found it later in life. Like it wasn't like when I was a kid, when I first grew, like I knew that was what I was going to do.
Also, I mean, a lot has to do with like the time, like, you know, where it is. I mean, I'm 40 years old, a little older, like, it was something that you just didn't think about doing back then. A lot of the young kids now, they can see the vision, they can see the path. Like, we were pioneers. Like, we paved the road for what is going on now. So, I mean, we both hustled hard for years and years to build the reputation to be able to enter the legal market. And people are like, oh, these guys have been doing it for a hot minute. Like, these guys have been in the game for a minute. We've both, like, people that have been known that have been in the game for a long time around here. So
I asked him how many serious people there were in the state. You said, how many would you say?
Serious as in, like, top shelf cultivators?
Yeah. What serious grows like you guys have?
10?
I'd put 30.
I would say like 10. Like, I mean, there's not a lot there's not a lot that do it to scale and do it really well consistently. Now, there are companies that do really well, but it's not as consistent. But when they hit it and they nail it, like, they knock it out the park. There are some companies that it's tough to be consistent. It's tough to have a good work crew. It's tough to have guys that, like, buy in. Again, that happens with us because we're a no ego company. Like, we always know we can get better. We always know we can improve. We always know someone's just as good, if not better than you out there. So it, like, drives you to, like, work harder. I've always been like that too. I've always been like that where, we grow really, really good cannabis, I think, here with the Maine Trees and Beast Trees brand. But there are other people that are doing a good job. And we just want to, we want to per se stand alone, but we also want to stand at the top with everyone. We want to put Maine on the fucking map, man.
That's the goal.
Maine on the map more than anything is like, I want people flying from all over the world and landing in Boston and driving up here, flying directly to Maine. And, we have, obviously, people know for our lobster, our seafood. This time of year, like, the sites are beautiful up here. But again, I want you to fly to Maine to smoke good cannabis. And again, not just from us, from everybody. I mean, there's a lot of producers in the state. There's a lot of homies that do such a good job. And there's enough to go around for everyone, too.
Yeah.
As soon as you're competing, you lost the competition.
Exactly.
Like, as soon as you put yourself in competition, like, what do you... I think I was going to ask, like, what makes you guys part of the top 10, but it's passion.
It's
anything.
passion.
If you're not passionate about something, you're going to burn out.
That's it.
You're going to burn out.
It.
You're not, you were talking about birthdays and shit. Like,
dude, bro.
You're going to get burnt out. You're going to lose opportunities
and another
because
thing,
of your passion.
Another thing for us,
functioning 365.
it's like, bro, we want to smoke really good cannabis. Like, that's our passion, is really quality boutique style cannabis. Now, we want to smoke that, so then we got to grow it. Because again, I know there's some crazy shit going on out there, and there's some foolish cannabis out there that you don't want to get duped by. So
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I mean, there's some, like, people that are spraying shit, people that in the medical side, again, we have this whole testing thing going on, that don't test their stuff every once in a while to see where they're at. I mean, there's a lot of pretty cannabis out there that just doesn't smoke really well. That's
How does a
thing.
layman know?
They don't. That's the unfortunate thing. It's educational on the bud tenders, on the purchasers that should be smoking the products before they bring them in, put them on their shelves. Again, test results. The state is, trying to go through some of that right now. We've always been like, we're open book. We'll test our stuff. No problem if you want it.
But you won't be able to tell. You have to do your own research.
Yeah, you got to do your own research. You got to really, you got to do your own research, and don't, obviously believe everything you hear online. Go direct to the person. It's pretty simple. Like, go direct to them. Everyone has access to like pretty much getting direct with every single company if they have questions to ask. So all they have to do is just go direct to them.
It's funny, we were talking about visual. Like, you can tell, like, when I saw you guys' bud for the first time, I knew it was special. I knew it was something different because right off the bat, like, you can tell it's not fake.
Yeah. There's real love that goes into that. Like I said, everyone you met when you walked through, like, when they were hired, it's about passion too.
Everyone was happy.
That's
crazy.
it,
Yo, did you notice that?
So
everyone was like, no one was in like a bad mood. As we were talking about, like, I'm a big picker upper of energy.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, no one's like upset to be there right now.
Everybody loves what they do. Everybody comes to work like smiling, happy every day. Again, for the most part, no one really brings their outside life in here. Everyone has shit going on. I know everyone has, the ups and downs, but when you're around the plant and you're around people that fucking love what they do, it just rubs off on each other. So coming to work that this guy's going to be happy and stoked to be here. And if you're in a shitty mood, it's going to bring you up.
I've been on this new thing, fuck perfect timing.
Yeah, right?
Like I've been really thinking about that. Like, if you wait for perfect timing, then you're going to. So many people are going to pass you.
Gotta
Talking
manifest it.
about letting other life shit affect you. Like if you bring outside work into anything, you're gonna like you'll push that off. You'll be like, oh, well, I'm in a bad mood today, so I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
Well, then why? Why don't you just put that aside and work, and then you can grow and figure it out later?
100%.
Like, if you wait for perfect timing, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I agree.
and a lot of people that work for us, again, they use cannabis that helps them in their everyday life. So another reason they're passionate about it is because it's very helpful for them, friends, family. We had a gentleman that worked for us that actually one of our good friends that we grew up with who got diagnosed with cancer. And he worked for us, and we were able to be a part of that healing process, which, again, that's the most amazing feeling you get when you know that you're helping your patients and you're helping a close friend that works for us, and other people in the industry. You know, we've reached out that need help, to be able to help them out. That really boils down to, I mean, like the passion, the love for the plant itself, and wanting to grow really good cannabis to smoke it.
Do you enjoy, like, having it be legal? Is it what you thought it was going to be? Like, when you wished, oh, I wish this was legal?
Kind of.
Yeah,
sort
kind of like
I think the only part that I think I wish it was better is the open consumption scene where, like social clubs. We need to be more open with the social clubs. Stuff like that. It's kind of still feels like they want us in the shadows.
Yeah, that's the shitty part.
I get it. Like,
imagine if alcohol smelled as much as weed.
That's what I think
it's like it's a smell. I was thinking, it's like
maybe do a special room within the restaurant where you can go in. There's just like a casino style air filtration.
But like it's
do something.
You can drink really anywhere because it doesn't. It's like the smell, but who cares? People are smoking cigarettes everywhere.
Yeah,
and that smells way worse.
The only thing that we've been able to transform is like vape cartridges and things like that, where you can kind of smoke everywhere and get away with it. But yeah, cannabis, when you burn flower, it has a unique smell to it and it's potent. And some people don't like it, you know.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm okay with that.
I get it. I get people. Again, I'm on both sides. Like I'm respectful of people, but I'm still gonna walk down the street and smoke it outside.
Oh yeah.
Like,
why are vapes got like ostracized because it's like the reefer madness on just vapes. Like
it's you have a certain group of people that tainted bad cartridges, and again, once you have that going around, you have large companies that are against.
But it wasn't a conspiracy.
It wasn't a conspiracy. There was some bullshit going into some cartridges, and I'm sure there still is, man. You can still get you can go online and order some bullshit right offline from overseas, and you can get some fucking nasty stuff. And people are doing that again.
I think whenever you see a dip in the market and pack pricing, you're gonna have people struggling to survive, and there's people who will do anything to survive. And if that means they gotta taint some shit or send some stuff that's really not consumable just to keep things flowing, they're gonna do it. And it's unfortunate, but I think it's
every
just
type
of
business.
Part of our.
And that sounds like like something else that's happening right now too, you know?
Again, it's just like it's part of business in general. There's always going to be, no matter what space you operate in, there's going to always be someone, I think, that's trying to take advantage of someone else or work some sort of angle. Greed's a bitch, and that's human nature, but it is what it is.
It's true, and I think people... I even like to give the benefit of the doubt, but it's tough. That's why you do have to have knowledge. You have to... And that's tough for a lot of people to have time.
Yeah.
Time is like a big conspiracy that we're trying to take up people's time as much as possible. Like with social media, with all the movies, the TV shows, it's like companies realize, oh, I can take up a lot of people's time, so they can't do the research
so they can sell us a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the good thing is, too, on the other side, I mean, you have access to all the information you need pretty much online, which is nice. You can pretty much get all the information you need right offline nowadays, or, within certain threads, Reddit, so on and so forth. Again, you just have to be careful of sourcing.
Or conversations like this. Like, I like to learn. Like, when you were giving me the tour of the facility, it was funny. Like, I'm not a take pictures of everything. Like, I want to be in, and
yeah,
it's cool learning about when you learn about where something comes from, that you enjoy, it gives you like a little spark inside of yourself.
No, I agree. Yeah. It's nice we offer that too to everybody. We've said it to numerous people, all of our vendors. We've had a bunch of people come through, check out our spot, see what we do, see the cleanliness, like go ahead, meet the people. If you want to really know what we do for a business, come on here, we'll show you. Again, we've had no problem, full transparency. That's just how we operate.
From someone who wants to grow to making it in the professional field, how long do you think that would take?
Again,
I think that takes a year. It depends on your position too. I think when it comes to cultivation and headlining a cultivation facility, especially, it takes years. You really get to learn, substrate management, how plants react to situations, positives and negatives. I think you just got to go through the works to honestly become a great grower, and that requires going through everything, all the problems, and learning how to adapt, address them, and move on and clear things up. Because you're gonna go through them all.
Yeah, you run into
I
problems.
think growers like, I never had this now. Okay, sometimes there's stuff that you might not have had. I agree, but I feel like you really need to be able to go through, get your licks in, and be able to manage them and how to manage them in the future.
You can't skip any steps.
Yeah, I agree. She's this plant is teaching, and I feel like there's a loose term that gets tossed around in the industry, master grower. It's like, nah, none of us are masters at the end of the day. No am I. I'll never be a master. I am forever a student to this plant. This plant's going to teach me till I die. It's been teaching me since I started growing it, and it still teaches me stuff every crop. And it teaches everyone that's around us, stuff about not just the plants, ourselves every day.
Special.
So, yeah.
And if you think you've mastered something, then you're never gonna want to grow.
Yeah, you never want to expand.
You kind of have to be your harshest critic to be successful. You have to almost not hate your I hate what I do.
I'm never
to
satisfied.
the point where it's crazy.
Never satisfied.
Yeah, it's crazy because people will say I had an episode come out that I wasn't really a fan of, and people will come up and say they love it, and it'll take me everything in my heart not to be like, but I hate that one, because it's just you always are striving for something that'll never come.
That's why people. This is in some talks I've been asked quite a bit is, what's your favorite strain? I could never put one on it. Could never tell you even the lobster with the success we've had it. I don't know. I'm gonna have a favorite next week that we
pop and that we grow. That's the
I
fun
love
thing
this
about
shit
it.
too.
And then 30 minutes after you smoke it for the first time, you're like, fuck, all right, we gotta better that one.
Man. I
You gotta
can't settle. Settle.
No, always trying to get. And again, that comes back to always just trying to get better, man. Always trying to get better. Always trying to learn. Always trying to educate ourselves. Again, on his side in the cultivation, and me on following the trends on the sales side. We go back and forth a lot on strains and what's up, what's coming up next. And, we're a year out now. We're a year out, moving on 16 months, 18 months of setting up what we're going to have. And that's part of the business that, again, is starting to take form in front of us, is the looking ahead and seeing what's coming, so that we can start to market and get people excited about some of the new stuff that we have coming down.
Yeah, so at that point, people are excited about it, and you're like, well, that's old shit.
Old shit for us,
old shit for us. That's the past right now.
But just continue to fucking grind and find special, cannabis, and find special things to bring to the market.
And you guys still enjoy smoking.
Oh,
you got look at the smoke. Is it a camera hella smoky right now?
Oh shit!
We're just getting started.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
We smoke heavy. That's one thing that a lot of people say about us too. We'll go to events and we'll be the smokiest booth. I'm like, no, we're no joke. We smoke, man. We smoke.
But you guys it's fun. You ever smoke with someone and it does shut you down?
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I think this is an energy thing.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a weed thing. I think you're bringing me down. because do you know?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying 100%. And some
totally
shit
agree.
will
Like I'll be stoned, but I won't be like when you're like, all right, I'm so stoned, I need to get out of this conversation.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
usually not the weed for me.
No,
you
it's
know?
like the conversation or what you're talking about. You're like, all right, yeah. No, for us, again, we can go. There does get to a point. I mean, I like to eat my edibles, towards the evening time.
What's the most you can do in edibles?
The most? So I'm around 500 would be the most that I can do without. I start to feel uncomfortable after that. But we had these 500 milligram like full spec hash rosin drinks that we were getting made last summer. And I could drink one of those, not like just fucking hammer it down, but I could drink that shit over like 2 hours and I'm good. But anything over 500 threshold will send me to a different
What's
dimension.
the most you've taken? Have
700.
You? Oh, we have you beat. We did stupid shit.
I did
once.
700. He's up there high too. But I 700 and I was not happy.
Yeah, so for Disty, regular THC, I guess you could say, was 3,000 milligrams off these drinks I used to slam. I used to be a wicked heavy dabber where I would just rip Graham gloves on Instagram all day. Just fucking monster gloves, so my tolerance was through the roof. So I could handle just like these crazy amounts of edibles because of the tolerance going up.
I wish I could. I just cough too much.
But the most I ever
Same
took
with me
full
with dabs.
spectrum was 1,200, and it fucking melted me. It was like taking a dose of LSD. Yeah, like it was a legitimate melted me on the couch, kind of similar to the first time I smoked weed. It was like that chick on that commercial where she deflates. It's like an anti-weed commercial. Like I really was
How
there.
much do we take on that flight? Like 12?
Yeah.
Like 12 or like what? Like RSO?
Yeah, RSO.
Oh, full exactly.
Yeah,
full
so
spectrum. That's
I
what
literally
it's a ride.
couldn't look at my phone. I couldn't listen to music. I just had to like meditate
can't do
there
shit.
for like.
You can't, that's a big dose, man.
Edibles do get into that psychedelic. When you hit a certain level, it is
Yeah.
very
There is a
psychedelic.
certain amount of psychoactive oil that is on the plant, especially on like high sativas. That's why people, when they smoke, high sativa oils, like some people it gets triggered just through smoking sativa flower, but anxiety stuff like that.
Yeah, sativas make me anxious.
Is
Yeah,
it
you
true
also-
if you
or, like,
only
really-
smoke sativa, it'll like fuck your brain up?
I'm not. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Someone said that, and as you can tell, I didn't do my
Yeah,
research
I
on
just
it.
more like terpene profiles for me. Like
Yeah.
that really get me. Like the more fruity kind of terpene profile is a little more racy for me. We're a little more earthy kind of coffee ground or gas backbone vanilla is more of like the chill for me. Where again the more fruity, especially like the lemons and the limousine terpene, fucking just get me a little too much.
How about the quantity
Likewise.
of weed you've smoked in a day? What's the most?
Oh fuck, dude.
I think I've blown down a quarter pound.
Yeah, at least bare minimum quarter pound.
Bare minimum.
smoked that.
You
Was
said
that
that
my
so.
That we smoked that. Oh,
yeah,
This is just like regular ass shit.
I think for our birthday,
Bare minimum.
one of those
quarter.
giant like 2-ounce
I do love those. I do love
Bro,
those.
I'm pretty sure I've smoked quarter pound joints. and
Yeah, we
still
smoked a
kept it
lot.
rolling, you know what I mean?
we went ham. I think because I have another house up north, like 2.5 hours up north, and we'll go up there. And for the 2.5 hour ride, like legit, you smoke the whole fucking way, and then you get there, and then immediately when you get there, you roll up,
Yeah.
and then Jesse packed this like the 2-ounce cone. So we smoked the 2-ounce cone as we're still smoking and taking dabs and shit. And yeah, I think I had like 5 or 6 ounces on me, and I came back with like half an ounce after 24 hours.
That's so fun. It is funny. The more weed you have, the more you will smoke.
Well, that's
like
that's
a
an
real
issue.
thing.
No, it's 100%.
Like,
It's 100%.
It's not like alcohol.
More money you
Like
have,
if
the more
you
money you
just
spend.
keep drinking alcohol like that, you'll like get so fucked up that you like
you can't.
you can't.
No,
Well,
You said you don't drink anymore,
I don't-
right?
I don't drink,
remember, I drink a little bit, but I used to get to the point where like I definitely have like a substance. Like I just want to go ham,
just wanna
you
go,
know?
go, go.
And
I'm
I
there
don't
with
do
you,
that
bro. I'm there
anymore,
with you.
but
I'm in that boat with you.
but with alcohol, it'll like stop you. With weed, really, you can just keep going.
Keep
Well,
going until you
people-
fall asleep. I mean, you will eventually fall asleep just from.
Some people can't.
Well,
It's crazy. Some people can't smoke.
Endocannabinoid system that, again, people need to learn more about. Like, so you got the endocannabinoid system, which, you have those receptors built in that are receptors that work just like when you take any other drug. But when you take any other drug than cannabis, those receptors burn off and never come back. With cannabis, you can kind of like singe those off, but they regrow after stopping cannabis use after 30 days. So it's like that's why I think there's like a sort of sentient factor to this plant. Science can't really tell you when it really comes into the picture. It's only in a plant family with 2 other plants. And again, I've really just been in that famous book. It talks about a seed-bearing plant brought to earth that can feed, clothe, and shelter man. And this is one of the only plants on the face of the earth that you can do it with. So I think it's very special what this plant does and it is for us and how our body accepts it. So I think that kind of ties into
some people can't smoke cannabis.
And
what are those other 2 plants?
Some people can't do it.
Yeah. Huh?
What are those other 2 plants?
There's one plant. So it's in one other plant.
Okay.
Hops.
Really?
Yeah, so you have hops and cannabis that are like brother and sister.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. I used to drink a lot of beer. It locks my jaw up now. I can't drink beer. It locks, and no one knows why. Okay. I've asked beer people. I've asked doctors. They're like,
have you ever got a chance to visit a hops farm and smell hops?
No.
It's very similar to cannabis, and the buds they grow upside down and kind of have a buddy flower look to it.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it's wild.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, take a look at hops on the internet when you're thinking about it. Just oh shit.
I think that's why out here we have a heavy craft scene, which I think again ties into why we have to be so on as flavor makers, like we talked about a little bit, because we have an incredible craft scene of beer, craft cocktails, and food.
See, but weed people are dope. Beer people annoy me.
I know, but they're starting to
cross over. But no, again, they got a little wild for a while.
It was a little too hipstery for a little bit.
Yeah,
it was a little bit where beer was all right, calm down.
No, some people are really...
You have to roll your jeans up that high with your fucking Harry Potter glasses. Calm down.
Yeah, no, some people are too much, dude. They're too much. We're getting some of those motherfuckers in the cannabis industry too.
Yeah, what's the worst type of cannabis person?
I would say
someone hyper chads.
Yeah, or it's just someone new to the industry that, again, they're a know-it-all where they really haven't gone through most of the experiences, or someone that just fucking has their own opinion that they stand by without, again, reaching out, talking to people, understanding what's going on in the cannabis industry. You're just self-centered, fucking narcissistic people that just whatever they say goes and is right.
Who don't respect the history.
Yeah,
we're talking about
just respect the next guy and their path. We all got our own path. And there's plenty of space for everybody.
Everybody.
It's just who wants to work the hardest at the end of the day and push their brand. And there's a lot of weird energy here where it comes to people pushing their brands and other, what they call MSOs coming in. We've been accused of the same thing.
What's that?
Multi-state organization. So Maine's really weird where it doesn't want big business coming in, which I understand, but it happens in every industry, at the end of the day. So we have to, manage that.
So if you're a Maine weed company, you can't work in any other state?
Well, no, you can start to bring your business and your brands and your SOPs. You can't necessarily, you're not doing business, state to state, with the cannabis, but you can start up your brand in other
Oh, you mean if you have a weed company outside,
you can't bring it to another state,
but you can't bring it into Maine.
Well, Maine wants you to think that, but it happens, and it's up to us to work our ass off and do the same thing and expand this where we can. Maine's a very, very small market, and which is unfortunate. So you can only grow your business to a certain size, I feel like. So I think, if you can get to a point and, have that sort of reputation, you can start to enter other markets.
You do see Maine as a small market?
A smaller. I think as we grow, as people become more informed about Maine and aware, and how great the weed is up here, and how special it is, and, that'll come over time. But, for now, it's a smaller market as opposed to California, New York, Florida.
Do you see it as a small market? As a outsider? That's funny, yeah.
Yeah, we look at it as a small market for sure.
Do you think it's a small market because you're big fish and us like?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, no. I just. It's really there's a million people in this state. You know, that's all. There's a million people in the state. It takes 6 hours, 7 hours to get to the top of it. It's a big ass state.
Yeah, but there's 400 million people in America. There's 8 billion people on Earth. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, again, for us, like, there's really not that many people in the state of Maine, so I would consider us on the smaller end of things for sure.
Mm-hmm. Most people don't even know about Maine.
Yeah,
like, that's why I think we're kind of special. We're like, and another reason why I think we're so good is because growing up, all you heard about was California. Like all the best weed coming out of Cali, and then it was.
And that's why you get those fucking.
And then it was
the ship nugs that are really fucking dead.
And then Canada. Well, first it was Canada because you get like
BCs
and fired.
Shout out to fucking
there was 2
BC buds, man. I made a bunch of cash off.
There was only 2 cuts of beef.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Hello.
How are you guys?
I'm good.
Good.
I was gonna say we are in the middle of a podcast. No, it's all right.
I'll edit this part out.
It's all good.
If you want to set up in the front, can you set up front? Or yeah. Sorry about that.
Or we can, if you want to go in here,
I want to go in there and shut the door.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the check for the farm.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah, go right in there, and then we can just.
Go around the other way.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I was just saying you can go in here and close it. We can close the door.
Okay.
You want to go in this office right here? It's just a little smoky.
How long are you gonna be?
10 minutes.
Then maybe if you want to go, maybe have her go up front so she doesn't go back.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that,
You want
Beth.
to leave that check with Brooke? Or-
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's leave it with Brooke.
Thank you. Brooke, our accountant. I mean, Beth.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Bro, that's what I'm talking about. So we're talking about just I think the way people looked at the industry from like Maine and California. Like
that you guys see it as a small market.
smaller market, and how
Thank you. We're back on track now.
Yes,
the train's going. The train keeps on moving.
we got so good. We have such a great market, or such high quality here as well. Is because of those markets coming online earlier. And again, if you were and obviously people were importing on the black market side of things. So like, and as a legal market in the the green market or whatever, you're still competing with what's happening there, no matter what. So like, in the early days, you had to like kind of like compete with those markets, and unless you were growing something fucking great, it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, don't worry, that's not one of their weed bags.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Infused Productions. They are the best in cannabis products and events. Make sure to follow them online at Infused Productions. That's INFUZED Productions, and check out what they have going on. Let's get back into it.
Some pillows. But yeah, it wasn't going anywhere. So I think you really had to step your game up, and like in the early days, and then everyone kind of evolved alongside of each other, just sharing info and just trying to constantly get better. Maine has its own little side of genetics, just like some of these other little markets do. But it's now Cali's kind of dictating a lot of the early flavors ahead of.
Yeah, they seem to be the trendsetters. Yeah, they seem to be the trendsetters.
You're not a fan
out
of
there.
that?
No. They got some great flavors out there.
They got great flavors. We got great flavors here. They got great flavors there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, when it all boils down to it, it's the cannabis community. It's the cannabis world. Like over in Spain, like how it's huge over there. It's huge on the East Coast in Maine now. It's huge in Cali. Like, I mean, there should be no reason, again, that it shouldn't be a battle. It shouldn't be an East Coast, West Coast, like, old school rap battle type shit.
Yeah.
No,
it was like, let's work together to create some of the best cannabis in the world, and let's showcase it to everybody.
Why do you think Maine weed is so good? What makes it so?
Dude, he says it all the time.
I will say I think it's the water. Everyone's really, the information's out there. So at the end of the day, I think it's if you really want to grow some good stuff, regardless of where you're at, it's up to who wants to work the hardest and really track down that information, gain the experience, and just keep it moving. Because there's nothing like this. Nothing grows like this plant on the earth. So, but yeah, I think when it boils down to it, Maine weed is especially great because of our water supply here. We're essentially growing with Poland Spring, and Poland Spring is bottled up by Poland Spring and then sold all over the world, natural spring water. and it's some of the cleanest water. It's up there with Fiji, you know, and the big names, I would say. And we're pulling that out of the ground and growing our plants with it. And then on top of that, add our energy and our SOPs and the way we do things, it just kind of creates something very special.
Maine, if you look on a map too, like kind of where we are, it's almost right where Humble is. Yeah. Very, very similar.
Yeah, it's like
season-wise, yeah. So, again, outdoor, I think we produce some of the best outdoor cannabis in the world, small batch-wise. And then, you can't really compete with the Cali outdoor. They've been doing it for so long. I mean, we've been getting at it here for a minute, but the season's a little bit shorter here. Season's a little bit longer out there. You can ripen up a little bit more, so you can get more out of your cannabis. But I've seen some unbelievable outdoor cannabis here. Climate change, pressure-wise, the way things are in the state of Maine, like I said, to grow outdoors is, it's almost there. That's why I think Cali outdoor is always really, really solid. But indoor-wise, I mean, there's a lot of good cultivators that have been doing it for a long time here. And, out in Cali, like I said, the brands that have been around for a while, they've been legal for longer than we have. So, we're just starting to kind of get exposed to the market, 10, 15 years into being able to legally cultivate in this state.
You blew my mind with two things today. The water thing was one. I had to bring that up. And the second was the candles and shit.
Yeah, and how susceptible cannabis can be to outside.
Yeah, I never thought, those are two things I never thought about. Like if you're growing weed and you have candles going and you have perfume, like that'll affect the weed.
Yeah, so I was explaining to him how susceptible it is and how like in the facility we don't allow people to wear perfumes, lotions, anything that provides any sort of outside smell. I walk by you and can smell anything other than air. We're trying to fix that just so you smell nothing but cannabis in the building. This was a lesson learned in the early days growing inside where, we started extracting the flower, and that's where all these flavors started really showing themselves prominently in the concentrate, because it would be concentrated. So we started making that, and then it was on my very first batch when a friend of mine, we made some BHO, and then he had smoked it before I got to him, and then when I pulled up, he was like, "Yo, tell me if you don't taste cinnamon when you smoke that." And I smoked it, and all I could taste was, or first he asked me if I burnt cinnamon candles. And I agreed. I was like, "Yeah, dude, why?" And then he goes, "Smoke the hash." I smoked the hash, and I could taste cinnamon candles in it. That's when he's like, "Yo, explain to me." He's like, "Dude, this is you dropped a lot of knowledge on me." I was like, "Yo, you can taste all this shit. You can taste dryer sheets,
Dryer sheets
butts.
is a big one.
Dryer sheets and cigarette butts are a huge one.
Dryer sheets, people don't realize it, but when you a lot of people cure their cannabis in their basement, and that's where the washer and dryer is. Yeah. And when the dryer goes, it'll be funny if you ever come across it. A lot of small boutique style growers do it because they have less space. Most of them are curing in tents now. But back in the day, you used to hang that shit right wherever. And dude, the dryer sheets.
Yo, oh my god, yeah,
it's crazy.
All my dad's friends that grow weed in their house, I'm like, this is the worst weed I've ever smoked in my whole life.
It happens. Sometimes small grows aren't great.
Really old dudes either have the best weed or the worst weed ever.
They got that fire strain that everyone's been trying to get.
Yeah, you have to get into that shit early. You can't.
Oh, you do. Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's where we evolved too. Like with all the old heads, like I said, I think when they squashed the hippie movement, where a lot of that herb was circulating in the early days, and all that weed was coming in. When they really squashed it, the hippies went north on the West Coast, and they went north on the East Coast from New York up, from LA up to NorCal and Oregon. I think that was just to hide and get into the woods where they wouldn't be found. Massive crops going down, huge multi-thousand plant grow-ups. That was what my father was a part of, what I was telling you a little bit about. So part of my father's story was he was never around. Because him and my uncle were busy getting to it, trapping super heavy. They used to, I don't care to talk about it because my uncle has passed, and it's been a long time since my father been in the game. Long time. I don't have a relationship with him. So him and my uncle used to smuggle 70 pounds a day from Mexico to San Diego, and from San Diego back to Maine. And then also they would do multi-thousand plant grow-ups once every summer, crop it down and do about 100 pounds, and then sell it to a local biker gang once a year, and then kind of sit through the winter because they were both metal workers and we would only get work through the spring and summer months up here. So they were chopping pretty heavy. And a funny story about my uncle is, you ever seen Pineapple Express?
Yeah,
So the pot dealer in that, if you go to the end of the movie, his full character name, James Franco's full character name is Saul Silver, S-A-U-L, Silver, S-I-L-V-E-R. So my uncle, Saul, S-O-L, Silver, got caught in California a long time ago with 500 pounds of weed and was one of the biggest bails ever set in California for trapping like he was. So my aunt reached out to the directors and they ended up using his name after seeing it a long time ago.
Really? That's crazy. Yo, you just dropped some wild movie knowledge on me
That's
that
kinda
I
crazy,
never
right?
heard.
Yeah.
That
Actually,
is kind of isn't that shit
And
wild?
his, he went in and out of jail a couple of times, and then he came out with an addiction. So the reason he got caught was because he had
Wait, he went out. So he got the addiction while he was in jail.
not necessarily. It kind of started when he was in jail, when he got in. It's the reason he got into jail is basically he was feeding it a little bit. He was only selling it a little bit on the side. My dad never touched it from what I heard, but he moved the weed with him. But and they actually found his stash in Arizona, where he was feeding one night and broke open his storage unit, but left it all broken open. So Joe Schmo security guard comes walking by, fucking shit's broken open, opens it, finds out there's fucking 500 pounds of weed and some dope in there. Next thing you know, my uncle's wanted in California. And ended up getting caught. His wife did 10 years for being his wife. Funny story. Before he got caught, like one of my early
For
memories.
being his wife.
Yeah, one of my early
Part of
memories
the
of my
whole
father
yeah.
was. I have very few of them, but one of them was when we went to visit him.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. That
No,
was
dude, no, it's good. It's a good story.
to be.
It's a great story. So one of the only memories I have a handful of them, of my father, was we went to go visit him at my aunt's house. And this is when him and my uncle were trapping pretty heavy. And my brother was like, yo, let's go to the toy store. I got some money. I'm like, all right, sweet, let's go. We go across the street to the store, grab some toys. Dude busts out a stack of fives. And just start ripping off fives. And I'm like 7, 8 years old. I'm like, what the fuck? So even the cashier, I'll never forget looking at him. So he's like, I'm like, what the fuck? Where'd you get this money? He's like, dude, I'll show you. I found a bunch of it. So we go back to the house, and underneath the couch was stacks of 5s and 10s. So what they would do is they'd be in the living room counting money all night, and then boom, all the 5s and 10s went under the couch, and that's what they're spending money.
Oh, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's like, all right, so I used to date a girl when I was like younger whose parents lived out in Chicago. And the first time I ever went out there, I flew out there, and her dad picked me up. And her dad's like, yo, I'm gonna go get this rent, because he owned a bunch of like buildings out there. And it was like, I think he was testing me. He left me in the car in the south side of Chicago while he goes to pick up this rent. So I'm just sitting like in the middle of the hood. But he comes back and he's just a stack of ones. There was a stripper that lived in one of the...
That was paying for the rent.
Was paying the rent in the
Makes
stack
sense.
of ones.
That's awesome.
That's so funny.
That's wild.
What makes weed a different plant? You were saying that it's a different... why is it a different plant than everything?
I mean, obviously the chemicals it produces, the THC,
Yeah, the chemicals it
CBD.
produces, I think just, again, how it ties into our biology, our personal human biology. And just, I don't know, like, it's a very communal thing that kind of tends to bring people together.
You haven't thought about it on like a deeper
They
level?
can feed,
Why?
clothe, shelter us at
Well,
the
like-
end of the day.
Well, it's like the peace pipe. You sit around, with the chief, share the peace pipe. Again, I think it helped shape a lot of our culture that we didn't even know. Because you get some wild thoughts when you're smoking cannabis.
Like Bob Marley said, what was it, when you smoke the herb, it exposes you to yourself or whatever?
Yeah. But I mean, because you know it from a very like scientific way now. So I mean, like scientifically, now that you have this knowledge, do you see it differently? Like what about it is different than any other plant?
Again, I just think it's tied to us, like, and then like what I explained, where it's feed clothing. It's kind of like this. There's like this spiritual aspect to it, and you know, the mysteriousness of where it comes from and why it's so tied to us biologically is why, for me, why it's so special. And again, what it's done for me and taught me as an individual is why I credit a lot to it. It's taught me a lot about time management, investing in myself.
But it affects a human brain differently than smoking anything else.
Oh, absolutely. So I think, yeah, it can slow a brain down. It can connect some dots. I don't know. What do you think?
It's just random. It's chance.
I mean, yeah, people.
It's luck.
Yeah, because we all have different biology too, so it affects us in so many different ways. So there's so many different ways it can affect us and emotions that can be tied to those effects. So it's tough to. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of a tough one to answer, I think, because it's a very broad answer.
Is it like the same thing as psychedelic mushrooms? It's just randomly that these things affect us.
I think it can be to new users for sure, and people who use very little in between, uses.
How about, can we talk about the DMT trip?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever done DMT?
Nope. Never.
All right. We were talking about this before, and we were like, wait, save it for the podcast.
Yeah. So all right. I was recently given a DMT pen for my birthday on June 1st, and then I went out to California. Was going through a lot, trying to come off alcohol, just learning a lot about myself as an individual. I've been through a lot as a human, and there's some residual effects to things I've been through, that I'm working through. But so I have this pen. I've done a bunch of research on DMT about people and their experiences. So I knew like there was like a spiritual something coming. I could just feel it. So I go out to Cali, kind of having a moment. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm staying at Manhattan Beach at a business partner's house of mine, and go down to the beach, and by myself. It's like kind of close to sunset, and I take 3 giant pulls off of this DMT pen, as big as I can hit. And then
That's how you're supposed to do it.
As big as I could hit it. And on the 3rd pull, I kind of exhale and I fell backwards because it felt like a dizziness kind of feeling. And then I'm going to pass out. So as my back hits the ground, boom, it's like this amazing amount of color. And it's crazy. It's like this, it's like a shining color. I don't know how to explain it. And then all of a sudden I can hear a voice. And it's a woman's voice saying, "Breathe easy, child." And it's like, now I can start to see like this flutter as I'm on my back. It's in front of me and it's like fluttering. I'm like, what the fuck? And as I kind of, like, it starts to materialize, it's a black woman standing over me with like a fan, and she's wearing the most beautiful skirt I've ever seen. And it's multicolored and it's dancing around, it's fractalizing. She's wearing like this white shirt. She has like these rainbow bracelets on. And she's wearing like this rainbow hat or head wrap, and it's fractalizing rainbow glowing color. And she's just telling me to breathe easy, and I instantly relax, and everything goes quiet as she's saying this, and I can still hear her. The next thing you know, there's like these 2 women behind her, same thing, dressed the same way, and they're like throwing what looks like rose petals, but as they get close to my body, they like split into like fractalizations, and like there's like these waves of feelings going over my body of everything we're going through, and just like this calmness that's kind of coming through as she's telling me to breathe easy. It's going to be okay. And it was like I would say almost like a ritual that was performed on me. And then it was very quick. It was like 5 minutes, not even. And then as like she kind of starts to fade away, as I try to look at her, look her in the face. She stood up and was whipping her skirt at me, so I couldn't look at her face. It was a very weird experience. It was like, it wasn't about like who I am, like this, you know what I mean? It was a very calming feeling. I had a totally different viewpoint from things that I was experiencing at the time from that, and I will never forget it. And then I came home. I have a cousin, Saul's daughter, who I just talked about, who's very into that. world. She's traveled all over the world, Peru, to do ayahuasca. And that's when she showed me, I told her what I had seen when I come back, and then she started sending me pictures of this African deity that she thinks I had seen.
That's so cool.
And it was like she was wearing the exact same thing, a rainbow skirt, white shirt, rainbow hat. Like, I'll never, ever forget that. That was one of the most profound experiences I've ever had in my life.
What did you come out of it with?
It was more of an awakening to things that I was doing and going through, and an apprehension to, I guess you could say, things that I was doing and not really realizing in my life. Looking inward, not realizing I'm the problems to a lot of my problems.
Yeah.
You know, is where I was at. Like, oh fuck, and then it's gonna be okay. Like, you gotta get through this. Like, you know, like, and going through exercises and avenues to try to find ways to get through these personal problems I've been dealing with on the side. Because you got, you know, going through some of the experiences. Again, I had developed some residuals that I had to get through, and still trying to get through every day.
As someone who hasn't experienced it, what's your reaction to that?
I mean, dude, I'm all for psychedelics, 100%. So,
Oh yeah.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I enjoy mushrooms. So, but
Some people
I haven't gone that deep.
Some people get really weirded out when you describe the hallucinations that
No,
you
it's
see on
unbelievable.
DMT. Because I've broke through 2 times. I've done it 4 times.
Yep.
I broke through 2 times, and both times were so vivid. It was like, you know, when you watch movies as a kid and they like, you see someone take mushrooms, and you're like, is that what it's
Yeah,
gonna be
right.
like? And it never is.
No.
You never. But when you're on DMT, it's not. It's kind of like that. You get like the real visuals where you're like, oh, I'm in a different world right now.
Yes.
I've been brought to the Himalayas with like. It's funny because I saw Buddha on the Himalayas.
Wow.
The first time I did it, and I started my podcast after that.
Right on.
After that trip, and then this last time I did it in Nashville, and I was in. Oh, I got it later. I just hold it.
Yeah.
Did it in Nashville in a ceremony, and I was in like Mount Olympus, and it's so crazy how vivid it is. And if
was
you
unbelievable.
explain it to someone who has never done psychedelics, they look at you like you like have 3 heads. You know?
Oh, it's just, you know, there's so much of our brain that we don't use, and it allows you to access that. You know, all the serotonin chemicals, everything going on in the brain, and being able to open that up. I think psychedelics is monstrous.
Would you do
being
it?
able to do that? Oh yeah, I'd do it. 100%. It's got to be right opportunity, right place, people I trust, so on and so forth type situation. But yeah, I'd have no problem doing it. I have no problem doing ayahuasca. None of that. I'm 100% to opening up and bettering myself. So that would be a way
I'm
to
not
do
having
it.
those experiences alone. Like, I think you need to kind of I think these experiences have a tendency to bottleneck anxieties and problems you get and want you to address them and get by them, or just show you something new. You know, like.
A lot of things should be experienced with another person, I realized. Like,
That too.
when I first started this podcast, I was very, like, just solo. I would go on my adventures. And sometimes I still do that. I'll be solo. But when I can bring, like, people along, and when I've built a team of people I really trust and love, it's cool because you get to experience it, but then you experience it with someone else that you can then talk to about it afterwards. Like...
Share the experience with someone. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, Jay's part of the podcast. He's not on the good catch right there. He's not on screen, but he's as big of a part of the podcast as anybody. You know,
and we say that too with like everything from with the
Teamwork to
what
make
we
the
have,
dream work,
teamwork
man.
to make the dream, or what we have going on. You know, every person that's watering the plant, trimming the plant, selling the plant. Every aspect it's all very important. Every aspect of what we have going on is super important.
but to the psychedelic thing too, it's like when someone else has experienced it with you, it's like a shared like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, right.
I think creatives as
You're like, dude, I swear I'm not
like,
crazy.
oh my God, I was so high last night at this party with my friends. As I said, I had tripped for like 24 hours straight. And so I'm at this party last night and I look up in the sky and I see blue light, just shooting in space. It looked like shooting stars that didn't go away. and maybe 30 or 40 of them in a row. And I'm just standing there so high, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, honestly, it was like some movie shit. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
What's going on?
What the fuck? What the fuck? And I was with a couple people, but no one else was really tripping at that point. It was just,
yeah.
And so I was like,
that's
does
funny.
anyone else see that? And I look up, and they all look up, and a couple people are like, start freaking out too. They're like, wait, are we being attacked? Like, what the fuck? And then a guy's like, oh yeah, that's the Starlink. That's the Starlink. And we're like, oh, thank God. Because if I was by myself and I saw that, I think I would be the dude who's like, I saw a UFO. But really, it was the Starlink, you know?
That's fucking hilarious.
Whenever someone says they saw a UFO, they've usually been tripping. It's really funny. I've never really talked to people who are like, I saw a UFO. And I was like, word, were you tripping? No.
That's hilarious. Sober.
Do you think you've seen UFOs?
No, I wish I.
Dude,
wish I had.
I have a fucking wild story, and I wasn't tripping. And I have two of
He just gets beamed into space
I
right
have
there.
two homies that are
There's
like,
a fucking hole in
that
the
are super legit. That my homie Craig and my homie Angelo that are both like super legit. And Craig was in the car in front of us, and Angelo and myself were in the car, and we saw some crazy shit in Arizona, in Vegas, outside of Vegas, in Henderson, going to his house. He lived like a half hour, 45 minutes outside the city. So it's kind of rural area out in Vegas. And yeah, we saw something that I can't explain.
What did you see?
So we were like just cruising, and then all of a sudden, like a green like probe light just flying by us. It was as simple as that. Just like went flying by us and then was like gone. Like green light flying by us, probably 40 to 50 feet above the telephone pole. So you could see it. We had no clue what it was. It just seemed like an orb light. It just came into our perspective very quick, and then it was gone out of our perspective. And then I stayed quiet for a minute, and then I looked over at Angelo, and he was like, looked at me, and he was like, did you see that? And I'm like, bro, I'm glad you said that, because yeah, I saw that. The phone rings. Craig's like, did you see that? We're like, yeah, we fucking saw that. And that was it. Like that was all she wrote. Like
crazy.
After that.
That's
now,
crazy.
I could always play devil's advocate. Were we driving by and like something exploded? Again, always can play devil's advocate. But again, I wasn't fucked up. I wasn't drunk. I was a little high. But again, it's nothing like no, exactly. When I'm not, someone else in another car saw it.
I start to be like, sorry, I'm high. I'm like, wait,
yeah, no,
I'm always high.
I'm always fucking high.
I can't use that as an
100%.
apology.
So it's very unexplained, and to me, it 100% like went by us and then disappeared and was gone. And someone else saw it in another car. That was just like, all right, that shit happened.
It's funny we talked about the DMT and then that, because it's funny because like. It is two things that are so real, but like if you aren't there, you can't like
you can't explain it. You can't explain it. I almost I've rerun it over in my head, and I've talked about it. We've talked about it for years and years. Be like, dude, I think we fucking saw some shit. Like we really saw something. It was quick. It was a flash of an eye. It wasn't like I had time to pull out a camera and record or anything. It was just boom and then gone. And it was again. You asked the question like, what the fuck was that?
Definitely believe in aliens.
What the fuck was that?
Well, didn't they just say it's true?
Yeah, but well before.
There's a whole bunch.
bunch of
shit going on.
I don't necessarily think it's aliens as much as I think it's a future race of us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's again
A future race of us.
I can't-
I see that.
We don't want to go down no
yeah.
rabbit holes, we dog.
yeah.
We'll be here for
But I can't believe that
I do want to.
There's so much out there.
I do want to go on a rabbit hole of AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's
I've
crazy.
been doing a lot of research on AI, and I was anti it, but now I'm pro it. I'm very pro AI. And when you were showing me the programs in there and how everything needs to be regulated, and you just try to regulate the perfect thing, that's like what, because I had someone very high up in the AI world explain it to me, and I was like, damn, like that is what it's for. Like to literally regulate the perfect thing, and it's not going to take us over, but it's like the perfect tool. It's like the internet or medicine. It's like something we can use.
I mean, I'm always for progressive technology. I'm
People
all,
think
I'm always
technology is
for-
going to go away.
Yeah, no, it's just
Like, I don't think we're going to go back to
train's left the
cavemen
station.
people.
yeah,
You know?
progressive
where-
technology. I'm okay with. I mean, we're gonna get linked with AI somehow. They have Neuralink coming, where you're gonna just connect. It's gonna happen. I mean, Elon's right there. He's right there with
Yeah.
it. So we're gonna get integrated with computers at some way somehow. If our generation
That scares
sees
the
it,
shit
or
out of me.
our children.
But
I
imagine
mean,
how
I get
good,
it, just
not
like,
to be, but imagine
yeah.
how good the weed could be if you could literally have a program that perfectly matches every single time how it's supposed to be. That's not changing what you're doing. It's just evolution of what you're already doing. You already have that
Yeah,
program on your
yeah.
computer. Like that's already
But this is the
basic
thing,
AI.
I think that AI it takes in certain things and it will affect agriculture the most because of the human element that is there that can't be removed. Is that energy we talk about, right? Like, that
Yeah, no,
AI
the real
program
life
is-
sh- like the
the
real
AI
life shit, yeah.
can
Well,
run the
that's why like
show,
a
but,
Zoom
like,
podcast
who's gonna
isn't.
peel the
Yeah, right.
leg,
Like rather
you
do
know?
it. Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah,
But what was
like,
cool is recently
Why I pulled up here. Why I pulled up to you guys. This is as real as it could get. Like
right
this
here.
is
This
as
is where
real
we're
as
at.
it could get.
and we've been exposed to some stuff. So like I went to Cali a couple months back. We went out to this really intelligent group of dudes, scientists, probably one of the smartest group of men I've ever been in a room with, who are actively working on AI programming, dude. And it's gonna happen for the industry and then manufacturing. So they were working on an AI robot that trims the bud and trims it like to a craft standard where it's like it's right now it needs to be manually mounted by a human, but eventually they're going to have it where the bud will mount itself through a conveyor belt system that they design. So basically a human will just put totes on that are full of cannabis onto a system, but eventually they won't even need that. So they use cameras and AI to basically take pictures of the flower and then use a special blade system to, just barely touch the flower and pull off
so
the leaf. And then also they were like, yeah, we also have this laser thing where basically they can take harvested marijuana that's hung upside down and then pre-bucket where they have a laser that zaps off all the fan leaves and then gets it ready to be harvested and put into the machine. And then eventually they're going to bridge the gap where they'll harvest all the leaves off it and then zap off all the flower, and then that flower is collected and then goes into a chain and then onto that machine. So you're just having humans basically cut the weed down, but eventually humans won't even do that.
Yeah, it's like I saw the process of hash rosin being made, and I was like, that's why. Oh, we have a mail
sorry.
delivery.
no, it's all good.
Thank you.
The process of like hash rosin, I was like, why did hash rosin blow up so much recently? I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's because it's like it had to with the technology.
It's
like,
it's changed a lot. It's definitely changed a lot. That's for sure.
Isn't that like the purest form of dab?
Hash.
Hash rosin, isn't that what?
Yeah, Jesse, you'd say that the
The
purest,
purest?
or like some sort of maybe tincture.
So there's heavy debate on this.
Yeah, there's. I was
Oh,
gonna say,
really?
yeah.
I've never. Okay, because people in Detroit say that
So
hash
listen,
rosin.
and then people are gonna fucking hate what I'm about to say. And it's all right.
Oh yeah, let's talk about SIF.
listen. So I think there's a future in it, and to make it to where it's much more of a people can get into it because it's easier to produce. But once we can master really creating that end product and getting the plant material out of it, it'll be amazing. So you have solvents that touch the flower to create a lot of these concentrates. And people don't realize it. Water is a solvent. Water carries things into the flower. So I personally believe hash rosin, but specifically sift hash rosin that is collected post-harvest after, you could take flour and sift it over really fine silk screens at a different mesh level and collect very fine grades of hash that are then collected and then pressed into rosin. But it tends to leave a little bit of plant material. So we're kind of once we get a proper setup, we're going to get into some R&D to really clean up the sift rosin and make 99% pure heads, and then we will squish that. And we should be able to make a pretty great tasting product. And I think, again, it drives down the cost. You have a great tasting product, and the effect is much longer lasting. than live rosin. There's been speculation that live rosin was brought to the market as a marketing tactic because it's, some people tend to harvest a little early, and it's fresh frozen, so the bud hasn't had time to cure, and there's things that happen there. So you have a product where the effect is not long lasting at all. Like the effect wears off in 15, 20 minutes.
Is that like Delta 8?
I mean, again, I'm not a huge hash smoker, so I can say for sure that when I do smoke hash, the high is faster. But again, the delivery's faster. It's not like, we smoke a joint or I smoke a blunt, it takes 45 minutes. I'm high like 5 minutes into that, and then 40 minutes, and then another 40 minutes after, an hour after. So flower for me lasts a little longer. Concentrate, I feel like, is quicker. Live rosin or sift. Sift, again, I would have to do a side-by-side morning, first thing in the morning.
But why would people hate that you said that?
Just because people, there's purists, and they, everyone, I think there's clickies to everything, right? I like it all. There's no, shame in my game. I like it all. But when you take a product like Sif Rosin, we get to that point where I want to take it. We're taking it from flowers that were never sprayed on with anything, harvesting it mechanically so the heads are never touched, and then squishing that with heat and pressure to make an end product. What was that touched by?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's pure. It's absolutely pure. It's as pure as I would say it's as pure as Frenchy Cannoli's bubble hat, it's just untouched by anything, not even water. Was the resin was never touched by anything, never was touched by any human hand, it was just mechanically separated.
What's Frenchy Cannoli's bubble hat?
Not really Frenchy Cannoli, just there's I shouldn't have
He
said
was like
that.
a leader in the hash.
okay, all right.
He was like a leader in the hash.
world.
Sorry, I just wanted for people who I just
Yeah,
That was
no, rest
really
in-
not
rest in
that was really
peace.
not the
Rest
it was
in
just
peace.
a cool name too. Honestly, if he had a boring name, I wouldn't have asked
Yeah.
him.
and then all the bubble hash
With the last name
guys.
Cannoli, I gotta find out
Yeah,
what
right.
you did.
Yeah, and then all the bubble hash guys, it's all great. I think at the end of the day, it's fire in, fire out. If you grow a great product, it's extracted professionally and clean, and the end product is clean. And what's the real difference at the end of the day?
The dude I was talking to was talking about how they have this thing that they're working on that they can print ads on leaves.
That's wild.
Like you can change the genetic of a leaf to put.
No way.
Isn't that he was showing me shit?
I
would
Tell
say-
me
I would
you
say
saw that.
anything-
Look,
I
he
would
saw
say
it too.
anything's
It's like his
possible.
fucking.
Anything's possible.
It's like his alien thing.
Yeah.
He saw it too.
Anything's possible, I think, with science nowadays. I think eventually, you'll be able to manipulate.
Isn't
it
that
and do a
crazy
lot.
though
But,
that you could be able to
yeah, it's just
think about
wild,
you're
though.
flying over. I don't know if I like this or not. I don't.
Yeah.
Some technology is great. You're flying over Maine, and on the tops of trees is an ad. That's just like.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's wild.
That's too much. That's too much.
But that's
That's
something
where we're
that's
going.
We need a
coming.
break from people trying to sell. Obviously, we're sellers too, and we sell shit.
The capitalist shit.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. There's a
That's-
fine line where we're fucking with shit too much. You need a little come
it is
on.
funny though, 'cause capitalism
That's a
is
little
the
fucked for
problem
me.
behind it all, but nothing would be created without it.
Without
It's
it,
like,
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
the snake eating its own tail.
There's a
and
system.
it's literally it's like the savior and the curse. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Again,
tough.
you're right. Blessing and a curse.
It's like I think there's the balance. Like I said, I'm not really religious, but kind of the spiritual side. I think there's balance in every single thing in the universe. That's why it's hot and cold, black and white.
Yeah.
North and south.
Weed smokers and
west.
beer drinkers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A lot of that.
Balance every single thing, dude. Every single thing.
Man, thank you guys for doing this.
Oh hell yeah, man.
This is really fun. No, I really appreciate you guys showing me the facility, having me smoke the bud. This is some of my favorite shit, honestly.
Yeah, no. Again, for us, it's
the
cool too.
hospitality's amazing.
Yeah, no, and like I
We
said,
got
for
some
us,
care packs for y'all.
this is what we like to do. Again, if we're sitting down and being able to chat about what we do, we be prepared to smoke. That's
Well,
what we
I think
like. Yeah,
that
it's
your
like-
brand, I
Yeah,
fuck with the
let's
brand
do it.
behind the energy behind. And shout out Tommy. That's
Yeah, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yep.
he had such good energy.
Good.
And the bow was cool. And then I come here and y'all's energy was great. And I'm like, oh, this is a brand I like. I fuck with their product. But then I'm like, oh, You feel it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, they really care about it. They really love it. So
No, we appreciate you coming and
Trying to
doing
be
this and
authentic,
reaching out, man. I'm
That's
glad
who
we could.
are. Like,
Yeah.
we like to say it's for smokers, by smokers. Like, we just, again, like you say, like,
Yeah.
it was his idea to do the podcast. So I'm really
Yeah, no,
happy
it's
we
dope.
did that.
It's
Like,
dope. No. Yeah, I mean, it's like on our brands, you know. Come smoke with us. Quality matters most.
yeah.
Awesome.
Like-
Where can people find all your shit?
Whew, man. So if you're in the state of Maine, we are down south. We are in central Maine, and we are in northern Maine. Northern Maine, the Bangor area. Rocksteady Remedies. Central Maine would be Hive, Streamside. Sorry if I forget you. Man, so many. Maple Valley is in Waterville. We're out on the
Cupcakes.
border at Great Atlantic Puffing Company. We are at Vice Cannabis, Kind & Co., Mac. We are at Frost Factory. About to be at Local Leaf's new spot in Portland opening up. We're at Vice in Portland.
We got a website.
Yeah, we got a website.
Where can people
go
find you
on.
online and shit?
Yeah, online would be _ BSTREES _ So the Bees Trees. The original account got sniped. We also do have a fake account that people have been putting up. It's like _ with the Bees Trees. So don't follow that one. Go report
Fuck
that
your
shit.
_
Yeah.
shit.
www.beestrees.com will bring you right to the tree store, which is our site kind of together. And you can actually go on and place an order on there with your med card if you're in the state of Maine. We're in about 40 dispensaries, man. We're in a lot of dispensaries kind of throughout Maine. We touch 78, so not each month we're in 78, but we're usually in about 40 throughout the state, and then every once in a while in a few others. But yeah, you can find us there. And again, if you find the Bees Trees Instagram or the Maine Trees Instagram at Big Maine Trees, you can link both of them. They're right there together. All of our shit's right there. Our links to everything is in there. So Jesse, I mean, we're Big Maine Trees.
Yeah, I lost my first account.
Yeah.
I built Maine Trees to my ex-baby mom's. Some shit. Yeah, I was with her for a long time. But anyways, yeah, Big Maine Trees. Then you could also not only at beestrees.com, mainetrees.com as well. They both lead you to the same place. But yeah, looking forward to bringing fire herb and creating flavors with some homies for a long time to come.
Awesome, man. This is
yeah.
probably the smokiest podcast I've
Oh,
ever done.
as always, we're always the smokiest. No.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Follow me at Sam Bucked Up on Instagram.
Let's go.
Yeah. Peace out.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, man.